welcome back to the continued celebration of Computer Science Education Week. I'm Amanda McCammon with STEM Synergy and Keep Indiana
Okay, I have
Learning.
no sound now.
And we are here all week long with our computer science experts and resources, providing those to Indiana educators across the state in partnership with the In-Learning Partnership, which is a collaboration with the Department of Education, the Learning Lab, and Keep Indiana Learning. So now I would like to open it up to our 2 o'clock presenter, Jen Stewart. She's going to be presenting on computer science success stories, and she is a digital learning coach with Keep Indiana Learning, and she also is out in the field at Greenfield Central Schools. So Jen, I'm going to turn it over to you for your CS success stories presentation.
Jen, do you need some support here getting going with your presentation? Can you hear us, Jen?
Okay, now I can.
All right, Jen, we can see your screen.
All right.
If you can go ahead and take over, you're ready to go.
All right. Okay, well, I am going to share some information about a computer science success story, which is at my school, Maxwell Intermediate School. And I am currently the STEM teacher there. I'm also a digital learning coach at Keep Indiana Learning, something I'm totally excited about. My Maxwell Intermediate School, we have progressed from a computer lab-based 9-week computer applications class a couple of years ago to now we have a full year one-to-one STEM class for every single student in our school, and also actually every single student in our whole corporation. And they get 2 full units of computer science as part of that STEM class. And this is part of our thinking that everybody should learn how to program a computer because it teaches you how to think. I do want to preface that we are really focusing on not a particular computer language. We don't we don't say C++ or Python or anything like that. Our thought process is that by that time, our 4th graders or 5th graders are old enough to actually be doing this for real, per se, that the language will probably be totally different than what they have now. So our goal is to try to get them to think like a computer scientist and to be able to think logically and to be able to do the processes. So our progress is that in 2010, that they had a 9-week computer applications class in a computer lab. And then in 2015, they had computer science and robotics clubs along with that applications class. And the computer science class was open to about 50 students. And then there was big interest. And so in 2018, we started a 9-week computer science and computer application classes for all of our students. Since that time, it has progressed. So this year that we are offering a full year STEM class for all 4th through 6th grade intermediate school students. So we're very proud of our progress because now we are one-to-one iPads for all of our students, and we can offer this this whole year STEM class that offers computer science to every student, not just those in our computer science club. And this is how we get started teaching our students about computer science. And the enthusiasm is so great. And the way that we start is by learning to speak like a computer scientist. And we start with a basic vocabulary, and we learn about algorithms. And we understand that algorithms can be found in many places, not just in computer science. We talk about how in the kitchen we call an algorithm a recipe, or when we are putting together something cool from IKEA, we call it directions. And so we also encourage teachers in the math, science, and language arts classes to use that same vocabulary in language arts when they do their how-to speech We also encourage them to use that interchangeably with algorithm. And then we practice following a simple algorithm to create an origami animal. And then we say algorithm about 1,000,000 times so they become familiar with that word and it becomes a part of our vocabulary. Um, and then we talk about sequencing and bugs. And note, we still have not used a computer at this point, or an iPad. We are learning the vocabulary, and we're doing these things without computers. So anybody can do this. You don't have to have one-to-one. You don't even have to reserve a computer lab at this point. Um, and so here we remind students that things have to happen in a sequence. And with computer programming, things happen in a specific sequence. And so we read a familiar story and illustrate the main events. But before they present this to the class, their story is infected by a bug. So now we're learning about what happens when a bug infects our program. And they have to have help from the class to put the story back in order. So we talk about sequencing, and our little picture here, the students have illustrated the story of the tortoise and the hare, and they had to have a bug. It was infected by a bug, and the class helped them put it back in order. This is something they're familiar with. They use the word sequence in language arts class, and we try to tie that in together with what we are doing. And then, still not a computer exercise, we do the graph paper programming. And we talk about how when we write an algorithm and we put it in the correct sequence, we are giving a computer commands. In this case, it is a human robot. Um, by the end of this day, my arm becomes very tired because my arm is the robot arm. Although this year the students wanted to volunteer, and so I had lots of little student robots. And we write an algorithm for the human robot arm to copy a, um, a pattern, and it has to be in the correct sequence. And we know that those are commands. And the kids love this activity. It is something they're like, this year they were like, can we do more? Can we do more? And again, this is a computer-free activity, and we are learning these basic problem-solving skills and these logic skills that the students will need when they do their computer programming. And all of this happens in our computer science classes, but these can also be integrated into any other classes or homeroom classes. It doesn't have to be just how we do it. And then we do progress to our next steps where we start using some block-based coding and app-based programs. These are part of the Indiana state standards where we do use a block-based coding program. There are many that are out there. The two that we have chosen for specific reasons. The first one we use is Lightbot. This is our first year for using Lightbot. The kids absolutely go crazy over it. It is a free app, so that would be one of the reasons why we use it. It progresses the students from the graph paper programming to the next level. The symbols are very similar to what we used on the graph paper coding with the arrows and the right and the left. So it's a natural progression from one step to another. And they build many functions. Eventually, it builds up on their skills, and they build many functions. It's cute and it's gamified, so they really like that aspect. Once they download it, it is an app, so they are able to use it. Some of the kids were like, the younger kids, after the older kids had already started this year, they were like, I saw my friend doing it on the bus, and so I already downloaded it. So they really like that opportunity. Some of them didn't realize they'd already started coding. They just saw a cool game and they wanted to play it. And then from there, we progress to Swift Playgrounds. And this is for iPads and Mac computers. And again, it is app-based. And one of the reasons we really love this one is that because once the students download it at school, they don't need that anymore. So they can do it at home or on the bus. And they have that opportunity to to do it away from school, even if they don't have the internet. So they are not restricted by that. So it kind of it evens out the playing field a little bit for those students who do not have the internet at home. The students can progress at their own pace. It is not something we do together as a class. They have work time while we are doing other things. Um, when we do our robots, which you'll see later, the students will be working on Swift programming. One of the great things is that Apple provides lots of teaching materials and lessons and activities for the teacher as well. So it's amazing. Um, and again, it is also gamified. And one of the great things also about it is that it looks like code. Some of the block based coding does not necessarily look like code. And, um, and the kids don't really understand what they're doing. They don't understand how it relates directly to the computer science. In this case, it looks like they are writing code. It looks closer to something they might see if they were to lift the lid on like code.org, which a lot of them don't do, or if they were to kind of go behind the scenes of a website. So that's another reason why we like it. Um, and again, students go at their own pace. Um, there are different levels, and we're able to differentiate our lessons for all different levels of learners. Once students get through the first level of Swift Playgrounds, there are more. We haven't had that yet, but we are going to have some sixth graders that are going to be close to that this year. And then, close the door. And then we have some more visible applications where students are able to actually put this into real life applications, which are the robots, which are like the really fun stuff. We are fortunate that we've had people write grants, and we've had people give us some robots, and so we have some class sets, and we have many different robots. We have different types for different grade levels. We have the Spheros, the Dash, and the Q. They work well with the iPads. They work well with Swift programming. They also have block-based coding applications that we can use, again, which is part of our Indiana state standards. The Spheros are little, they're fun, they're cute. The fourth graders are loving their Spheros experience. We can set up challenges with them. They can get to know how to connect them via Bluetooth, some lessons in input and output, hardware and software with those as well. And then with the Dash robots, we can step that up a little bit and make some more challenges with those robots. We start directly with the block-based coding with those students, learning to maneuver those, make them interact, make them talk, make them tell jokes. And then for our sixth graders, we have the Qbots, which are a more sassy version, if you will, of the Dash robots. And the thing with these is that you definitely do not need a set. You can have some stations set up. You can have kids rotate through the stations. And actually, we have discovered that kind of we might have too many of them because we don't have room to spread out and connect them the way that we should. So, but using them in stations, setting them up as must do, may do, or choice board activities works very well. But it's like a practical application. They can see their coding come to life, which is very exciting for them. And they can work through those logic problems, and they can actually see the commands in action. And here you can see some of our students doing their coding. I don't think my classroom has been as quiet ever before as when they have the bots out and they're working with them, and they're very intently working with those. The teachers have come down and coded with us, and some of the teachers are going to borrow our Dash bots and do some math activities with them. There are websites that have different math activities where you can use Dash bots. You can code them to help work out math problems, area and perimeter, and multiplication and division. So those are pretty cool, and they're going to borrow those. And then there's another connection to our class. And then we have the Spheros out as well. And I don't think I see as much joy as I do when the students complete a task on their robots. Their faces are just amazing. So as far as our future goes, we are obviously building. This is our first year of the full year STEM class. And so we are looking towards the future as our kids are exposed to more computer science. Obviously, we want to help them progress in their knowledge. So what we are looking for is hopefully um, the possibilities are pretty much almost endless. I've had some students say, well, why do I have to learn this? I don't want to, I don't want to make games and I don't want to make websites. And we explain to them that the big thing is the problem solving and the logic. That's the most important thing that comes out of this, because that is so important, and the perseverance. Okay, so your program has a bug. How are you going to figure that out? What are you going to do? But then many others, they catch the excitement and they love trying to figure this stuff out. And so for them, we would like our more advanced coders to have opportunities to try app development. It is not unheard of for 12 and 13-year-olds to make their own apps and sell them on app stores. Our kids would not be selling them, but they would be developing them, so they know it is possible. And also having some of our kids do some web page development. I would gladly hand off the web page for our STEM class to some sixth grade students. Some of them have already asked me some questions about how they could use some coding to do some coding for the school. So that's kind of what we are looking for the future. Some of my students the other day said that they wanted to share their expertise for a STEM night, and they wanted to start putting that together, and they wanted to show the community the things that they're learning as far as computer science and coding. So they're very excited, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited that we are using our vocabulary in other classes, and it's kind of become contagious around the school, and that teachers are visiting us, and we're all talking about it. And I think that that's kind of a way to the future. So I couldn't be happier with what's happening at our school. I think it is a real success story, how we have progressed from the computer lab and the applications class for 9 weeks to adding our computer science class to now having a full year STEM class with our computer science opportunities and our other opportunities as well. And hopefully we can continue to grow our STEM space and our computer science program and branch out into the community as well. So I think that this is going to be an amazing opportunity for our students and the future of our community.
So awesome. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing your expertise from the field. It's so key that we hear from those of you out in the field getting the job done, right? You're in the trenches, you're working with kiddos, you're figuring it out. And you are really, I commend you for bringing computer science to students across your school and across your districts in this way. You said something that I wanted to hit on about, it's not just about the computer science components, it's all the things that are embedded within that they're learning that they can gain from, regardless of whether they decide to go down a direct computer science path or not within middle school, high school, and on into the workforce or post-secondary. So I think that it's amazing. I commend you for all your work and all your success with your students with computer science. It looks like an awesome class, and thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
I do want to say really quickly, I don't want people to be intimidated by this and teachers to not want to teach it because, Apple says anyone can code and teachers can teach. So there are online things and there are ways for teachers to learn how to teach. So even if it's not your area of expertise, don't be intimidated by it. So
Right. Wise words. Thank you so much. And thank
thank
you all
you.
for viewing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for viewing live, and or if you're watching on demand later at another time. Join us back here again here in just a few minutes at 2:30 for our next session, where we're going to have some experts from the field within Google and talking about CS first. Thanks, and see you in a few.